Hello, hello everyone. We are back with Launch Colts Football. I'm Daniel,
And I'm Chelsea.
and as you see, we are headphone buddies this week. Um,
Yes, sir.
and as you're also going to figure out, we are on two very different emotional compasses, seeing that one of our teams absolutely wiped the floor with one divisional rival, and the other team got humiliated on national television and prompted me to get very little sleep last night. But we'll talk about that when we talk about that. No rants today. No rants to start the start the
You
episode again.
sure? You gonna
Um,
rant about your sleep schedule?
I'm going right. Oh Lord. I'm going to pass out on this laptop in like 5 minutes. I won't lie. And this is going to be an interesting episode because at the same time, I'm doing a fancy basketball draft with a cross sports connection. Got the fifth pick and it's a keeper league, so I have my eyes set on potentially Cooper Flag, for the future spots.
Might I suggest Tyrese Halliburton if it's a futures league?
That's I actually think someone kept him. They're just gonna say, we'll let him sit out with the injury. It's fine.
Yeah, I probably would too. Poor buddy.
But this ain't the NBA right now, just the NFL. And there's a lot to talk about. And one thing I'm going to talk about in my anger towards the AFC North generally is Chelsea's number seven wildcard team, the Chicago Bears, losing to the Snoop Huntley led Baltimore Ravens. Because Pittsburgh could use all the help they get. But yeah, so Chelsea, what happened to your Bears?
Yeah, Caleb Williams had a bad outing. He definitely has not reached the point in his career where he's consistent yet. And if you're a Bears fan, you're probably wondering, A, if that's even going to occur at this point, and B, if it occurs, could it occur now? Because this should have been a game that the Bears should have won. I mean, yes, you're facing Derrick Henry. Yes, you're facing Zay Flowers. Yes, you're facing, the Mark Andrews of the world. But there's no Lamar. I mean, you're facing off against who was Huntley, who was actually their third string quarterback. He wasn't even their second string. He was their third string. The only reason he's starting is because their second string was so terrible. They had no choice. So yeah, lots of penalties by the Bears. Really, I think 11 was pretty bad. Um, Caleb Williams didn't look good. Their running game looked good. They were running the ball great, but Caleb Williams had that really bad interception. I think it was inside the 15-yard line, maybe, and he just made a bad decision and it got picked off. Um, Caleb Williams was the consensus number one overall pick in his draft class. Normally, with those guys, you're seeing a lot more success now. But at the same time, in the last 3 to 4 years, even 5 years, I would argue, you're starting to see that draft pick does not necessarily correlate with immediate amazing talent. I mean, look at the Daniel Joneses of the world and the Sam Darnolds of the world, and even the Mac Joneses of the world who are having success after everyone wrote him off. For
Yeah.
all I know, that could be Caleb Williams' story, but if you're a Bears fan, you want that story to end real fast because this is a game that they should have dominated. Even with Derrick Henry, you just concede the run. You just don't let Tyler Huntley beat you. And you got beat by Tyler Huntley and yourselves, but also Tyler Huntley. I mean, that's just kind of embarrassing. You're not going to compete in this division if you cannot beat a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens team who has one of the worst defenses in football. I mean, that's just a really bad loss for the Bears.
I don't know who Tyler Huntley is, but I know who Snoop Huntley is. I just, I just, I remember when they went started going by the name because I knew him as Tyler Huntley for like the first few years, the Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley, and then like now he's Snoop Huntley. It's like the Mike Stanton, the John Carlos Stanton change in baseball. But,
Yeah, no, that's true.
but yeah, it's just. Okay, I'll say this. I'm happy. Well, not really, but it's good to see Derrick Henry have two touchdowns because people are trying to say, oh, Derrick Henry is, yeah, Chelsea's really happy with the
My
fantasy league.
fantasy team was happy. I was struggling, y'all.
But like, everyone's like, oh, is Derrick Henry done? Is he wiped? Like, is he over? Like, no, he's fine. They're just stacking the line against him. That's obviously what they're doing. So, like,
That's what I do. Don't blame them.
yeah. And no, he had a little bit of a resurgence. I'm not sure if Lamar's expected to play at this moment, but I would assume he is because I think he did some light work on Thursday and Friday, so I thought he was actually going to play this past week, but
Yes, and
um
that's a whole thing, apparently. Apparently, the Ravens like broke protocols and by ruling him out on Saturday and saying he practiced when apparently he didn't. According to headlines on the fantasy app, the Ravens do expect Jackson to start on Thursday against Miami. Yeah, I would hope so. They should beat Miami without him. But
You
even
who
still,
knows? Who
Tua
knows?
had 4 touchdowns this weekend, so who even knows?
And I don't know, it's happy. It's always good when you have a backup that has the same skill set as your starter. Because I don't know why they just weren't starting Snoop Huntley from the beginning. He's just a lesser version of Lamar. But no, Chicago, this is a really disappointing loss in terms of you're trying to battle for, I think at this point, a wild card. Even with a win, I still think the Bears were clearly a better team. They're still going to battle for a wild card. And these are the games that you really need to win. These are the games that if you're going take, I'm not even going to say take the next step as a professional quarterback for Caleb, just to be like a successful quarterback. You beat teams that are bad defensively and that are without their best player. I say this with Baltimore, this was a very much a it's all or nothing win.
Character win.
They're like we can't lose games like this at this point. We are if they lost one or two more games, they would have to essentially go perfect just to have a shot at the playoffs. And oh, it's a good character building win for one team. It's a defeating win for the other team, but that's nothing compared to the heartbreak that Giants fans felt across, football fans felt across the world when big bad Bam Cam Skattebo went down with one a gruesome ankle injury, which I'm tired of seeing this at this point. At this point, it's just like between this, the Tyreek Hill injury, and I'm probably forgetting one or two other ones. Chris Godwin last year. I'm tired of seeing these terrible ankle injuries, these terrible leg injuries, knee injuries. It's horrible to see. And I think that just basically that just took the air out the balloon for the Giants. Cause I think it would have been a good game if you stayed in there. He already had a touchdown. I thought it was gonna be a good game, but once he went down and just the reaction from Dart and the rest of the sideline, they knew it was over for them. And then Saquon got his revenge part two because he had a good game last year against the Giants. The Eagles basically trounced the Giants that game, and I guess in a revenge game from a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's just disappointing to see a Giants team just 2 weeks ago. We were thinking, is this like a potential wild card team in the NFC? And then you have the terrible comeback loss against a comeback loss to Denver, and then you lose maybe your best offensive player. Honestly, you've lost the two best offensive players this year. You've lost Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors got like a quarter of Jackson Dart football, and then he went down with the injury, and now you lost Cam for the year. This might be the final death nail for not just the Giants season, but also for Dayball, because I don't see the Giants having a successful season at this point.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is really interesting. So first of all, your poor brother. He was probably hating his life during this game.
Oh no, there's a group chat was it was just like
Poor Matthew.
it was terrible. He was just like, I can't like why can't I have nice things?
Yeah. No, I mean the Malik, I would argue the Malik Neighbors loss was larger than this loss, at least when it happened. If you lost Malik Neighbors now, I think that there's an argument that the Skattebo loss is bigger, but really, truly a terrible injury. Honestly, I watched the video on Twitter like 8 times before I figured out
Why?
what was happening because the caption was like, "Oh no, he got injured," and like I could tell it was something with his leg, but I was like, "What?" And then I watched it again, and I was like, "Oh!" It took me
Uh,
like 6 times to see it, and then I was
mm,
like, "Okay, his foot's facing the wrong way. That's a problem."
yeah.
Yeah, no, truly a shame. Not only a Giants, also a shame for Chelsea's fantasy football team because he was my best running back this year and he was my best draft pick. And yeah, here we are. Um, yeah, I mean, no neighbors, which they were overcoming in the defense of them. I mean, they almost beat the Broncos without him, which was crazy. And then losing Skattebo, I will say that I think that Tyrone Tracy is not a bad back. He had 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year, so I don't think they're going to be going down to like Singletary, running 15 times 2 yards a carry. Like I don't think that's what's going to be happening necessarily, but definitely a huge loss. I mean, Jackson Dart is pretty much playing with fourth stringers at this point, outside of Tyrone Tracy, which is just really a shame. And it's a shame because they finally got their left tackle back, who's so good, and then the rest of their team gets hurt, which is just a shame. No, really bad loss. Honestly, I thought they were playing competitive in the first half. I mean, I got that touchdown out of Skattebo. They scored. I mean, I know they gave up that really bad Saquon run on the first drive, but
That's Saquon. That's
their
Saquon.
offense was looking. defensible. I mean, they scored some points, so I really think it would have been a good game if he hadn't gotten hurt. They probably would not have won, but I do think it would have been more competitive. But I mean, you knew it was over when you saw Jackson Dart's reaction. I mean, when he's on the sideline, just like in like he's the one feeling the pain, you knew it was over. So their Giants probably aren't coming back from this. I would say this probably also kills the talks of them trading for a receiver because this is probably a thoroughly uncompetitive year, which is really a shame because I would have loved to see Waddle or Olave on this team with Jackson Dart. And it's not to say they couldn't still do it in the offseason potentially, but I do think it lessens the chance that it happens in season now. As for Brian Dable, I think that's a very multifaceted conversation. I don't think he's a good coach, but he did draft Jackson Dart and he contributed to that. And he Jackson Dart's connection. So, are you going to put Jackson Dart through what many other rookie quarterbacks have gone through, including Cam Ward this year, where you fire your head coach either in season or after the season, you pair him up with someone else? I mean, I know a lot of NFL fans don't really think about the ramifications of that on a rookie, but that is a hard thing to overcome as a
Yeah,
rookie.
it
I mean,
is.
these rookie quarterbacks that have, four coaches in their first 3 years, I mean, that's rough. So if they keep Dable, I think it will only purely be for a year, and I think it will only purely be because Jackson Dart will be a rising rookie into a sophomore year. But at the same time, it wouldn't shock me if they got rid of him. But that's the argument. If you're going to get rid of Dable, do you get rid of Shane? Can you justify getting rid of Shane now? Because he drafted Jackson Dart, who looks amazing, and he drafted Cam Skattebo, who looks amazing. So I think it's a very interesting conversation. I'll be very interested to see what happens. I think they should probably still fire Dable because I don't think he's that good of a coach. I think they could get someone better. But it begs the question, do you want to break them up? Because for once, they actually did something right outside of drafting neighbors. I mean, they finally had a good draft, and then this happens, and it's just like, it's a complicated situation. I'm glad I'm not in it as a Colts fan.
No, no, I ironically you have the old quarterback. But no, you're right in terms of like the idea of like if you fire this coach, you because that's I think that's one reason why Baker struggled in Cleveland. He had I think three or four coaches in his time in Cleveland. Bryce Young, this is his what's it, his third coach if you count
I think
the
it's his third. Yeah.
and as we're
Because
talking
yeah.
and it's as we're talking, I officially draft the flag. Um
Nice.
yep. So no, it's gonna be interesting development in terms of I want to see Doc, I guess, progress in some way. This could be a good tank year for the Giants at this point. You're not making the playoffs. You're not gonna be any kind of serious contender, any kind of serious threat for the 6 or 7 seed. So you could just tank the year and just hope get a high draft pick. Maybe use the offseason to trade. This goes to a good point. I'm surprised they haven't traded like Russell Wilson yet. One team that could definitely use probably a Russell Wilson caliber quarterback would be the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, the Browns, I'll say this. Miles Garrett, I'm happy you got paid. Miles Garrett, I will say this as a Steelers fan that has defended TJ Watt for the past few years. Miles Garrett has clearly been the best defensive player in football this year, and I don't even think this man close second. Um, he had 5 sacks against New England, yes, last night or this on Sunday. They,
Five.
they didn't
He
even
didn't
come
say that wrong.
they
Five.
didn't even come close to playing like competing against them. They didn't like Dylan Gabriel, he didn't look that impressive, but it's a second day rookie, so I just feel bad for I don't know it. No, I don't feel it because he asked for a trade, and a month later they made him the highest defensive player in the NFL history, and then he's now the third highest because T.J. Watt and Michael Parsons got contracts after him. So I think I've talked about this before. I hate seeing great talent wasted on bad teams and bad organizations. I'm a baseball fan. Nothing made me angrier than seeing Mike Trout with the Angels throughout his entire prime, and nothing made me happier than seeing Shohei get out Dodge and go to LA. Because like I want to see great players on the biggest stages. I want to see like the best players or see if they how they go. I want to see greatness win championships. I don't want to see like Ted Williams make it to one World Series on the Red Sox because he has no luck of being the Yankees. I don't want to see like oh why is this the first thing?
You probably really
OJ
hated. watching Calvin Johnson on the Lions then.
Oh, Calvin Johnson online. At least like he had Matthew Stafford, and Stafford was smart enough to like get me out of this team. But the
They were
Lions,
still bad though.
no, no, they were still bad. The Lions single-handedly ended the careers of their two best players, Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. He just said after a decade, like I'm not doing this anymore. Um, but again, I'm happy he's getting paid. He's making his money. He's probably making more than Barry Sanders made in his entire career. But man, I'm just like, wow, this guy is so awesome. 5 sacks. What's the score? Not even close. Okay, got it. Ain't chance to
Begs the
make.
question, do you think that after performance, seeing the talent, especially that they have on defense, because they have a nice defense outside of him. I
Yeah,
mean, he's amazing, but their defense is great. And they have some weapons on offense. Do you think they start Shador soon?
they
Because
didn't even.
Dylan Gabriel's not really inspiring me.
At this point, they didn't even have Shador suit up. He was got did not play not because of injury. I think number
He was a
the
healthy scratch.
he was a healthy scratch.
Wow.
So like the only thing that can come down is either it's one of two things. Because the owner wanted Shador. The GM, the coach, they weren't interested in Shador. They drafted Dylan Gabriel. They clearly had their quarterback for the future always set up, and the owner said, get Shador. And they're like, fine, you're the boss. So it's either we're just not going to start him because we're not that interested in him, or he's just not good enough in practice. Like he's showing just like I'm not that like they look at him in practice like, okay, we can't put him out here. He's not up there. I think Shador eventually gets the start because I don't think this team's very good. So by the end of the year, he's probably gonna get like a last game of the season. Everyone's playing their backups. Should go out there and see what you can do. But
It's
you know,
definitely been an interesting downfall for the Sanders family. Colorado is terrible under Dion this year. And
yeah,
Mr. Sanders on the Browns, he's not even suiting up. It's like,
it's
how did we get here? Like 6 months ago, you were the talk of the town.
yeah, and like Travis Hunter hasn't really been killing it in Jacksonville right now, but it's just disappointing to see just like a great player just not have any shot of even playing January football. And
He
yeah,
brought it
so
upon himself, though.
I'm happy you got his money. I'll say this. I'm as Miles Garrett as his agent, I'm happy you got your money. As a football fan, I'm
Why
like
would you do this to me?
I'm like to me. Why would you
Me
do
personally. How dare
this?
you, Miles?
Yeah, I say that, and the one time they made the playoffs, they destroyed Pittsburgh. So that just shows I still like seeing talent on the big stages, even if they beat my team. Um, but yeah, so speaking of talent on the biggest stages, we know like Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones and Chelsea. Your Colts team is just. It's like watching. It's like me when I first started watching football, watching Edwin James and Peyton Manning and Harrison and Wayne and Dallas Clark and all those guys and Stokely just tearing up the AFC.
I honestly still can't believe this is real life. I mean, as a Colts fan, just knowing what we know about Daniel Jones, I've kind of been waiting for the shoe to drop, part of me still, even when we were 5-1, 6-1, just because his track record would tell you that that would happen. But at this point, I mean, I really can't think that anymore. And the crazy thing about it is that Colts teams of the recent past, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years, etc., really post Andrew Luck. I mean, this would have been a game we would have lost. And I think I just have like trauma that has been built up over the course of my life playing my interdivisional rivals because we always manage to blow at least one game to Jacksonville in the worst way possible. And sometimes we blow one to the Titans. We usually blow one to the Texans, at least in the post T.Y. Hilton era. I mean, that was the house T.Y. built. He put up like 150 yards every time he played at NRG.
Yeah,
But once he left, it's kind of a toss up. No, I mean, they look great. I mean, Jonathan Taylor has what, 3 games this year with 3 rushing touchdowns, and he's currently on track to potentially break the rushing record and the touchdown record, I
that's
believe,
insane.
which is
That's
crazy.
I saw that record was
Um,
unbroken. I saw no one's going to touch Thomason's record,
yeah,
honestly.
which is honestly crazy, and he's really not that far from breaking it. And we have some weak people on our schedule the rest of the year, so it'll be interesting
Dang.
to see if that happens. I know, which is crazy because I honestly didn't even think we'd be here. I would have been happy with 3 wins. I would have been happy with half the wins we have now, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, Jonathan Taylor looked great. Daniel Jones looked great. Michael Pittman's catch in the corner of the end zone in his elbow, amazing. Looked so good. Tyler Warren actually had more of a quiet day. He still had 53 yards, I think it was, but didn't have a touchdown. But I mean, Daniel Jones just really proficient. He's spreading it to Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, Mo Alley Cox. I mean, he's just spreading the ball around. Defense looked great. I mean, I would hope so against the Titans because they're really bad. It's interesting to see what happens with Cam Ward at this point. I don't think, like I mentioned earlier, the trajectory of quarterbacks we've seen take recently, I don't think you can write Cam Ward off this season just because we've seen guys emerge 2, 3 years after they've been drafted.
Yeah.
And he did lose his head coach. He lost Brian Callahan. He got fired midseason, which is a big loss, but also he wasn't very good. You know what I mean? But still, Cam Ward looks really bad. Like, really bad.
Is that well? I'll say this: I just don't think he has a good team around him. I
I
just,
agree.
I just
I
find it
agree.
crazy for the not Titans, for the Colts. Before the season, we were joking, yeah, y'all about to get another Manning because you're gonna be the worst team and get Arch Manning and one team, and I
Now
was
he's
like,
not even coming,
he's not,
probably.
yeah, he's not coming out, and you guys going to a Super Bowl, and
I know.
one team
Crazy.
that might need a new quarter. Well, they actually don't need a new quarterback. They just need to get quarterback get healthy. Are the Atlanta Falcons because. This is
Poor
just
Atlanta.
this is just who Atlanta has been shut out by the Panthers. They got destroyed by the Dolphins. They've lost to the injured 49ers, and they've beaten the Bills and Commanders. This is the dumbest team in football right now. Like it's don't bet on the Falcons. If you're on FanDuel or DraftKings or just family bet, don't bet on the Falcons.
Just
I don't know what's going to
reverse
happen.
bet on them. So, like, if they're playing the Bills, bet. If they're playing the Titans, don't bet on them. Just reverse bet. It'll be fine.
I think
No, Atlanta, man, they look rough. We have a friend from high school, my husband does, who's a big Atlanta fan, right? And we went out and we got Chinese food one day. We were sitting in the restaurant talking football. He was so excited because he was playing fantasy. His name is Anthony. Shout out Anthony if you're listening to this. And Anthony was so passionate about his Falcons. Okay. It's post 28-3. This was like last year. Okay. So he's been through some trauma. And I kid you not, screaming in this Chinese restaurant. Everyone is looking at us. He's literally pounding the table. He's like, "Why is Arthur Smith still here?" I will never forget that. And when I look at what Atlanta has done this season, I really should text him because he's probably like blown a fuse or something in his brain. He probably doesn't know what's happening.
he's probably just like, why is life? What is
He's like,
this?
"Why did I pick this team? Why?"
Seriously, because I get it. They're playing Cook Cousin. They are starting Cook Cousins because Penix is hurt. Also, Cook, it's just I know you're making the money, so be happy with making the money. But as soon as that contract's over, just retire. Like just stay on the team, make your money, and then just head out the door. And I know they didn't have Drake London. London was out this week. They didn't even look respectable. They didn't look any kind of like this team has a chance. They made it's not even just that fact. It's the fact that the Dolphins look dominant against them. They look like the Dolphins from
Which
like
is almost crazier than the Falcons looking bad.
yeah, it looked like the Dolphins from 2 or 3 years ago before the concussion when Tyreek Hill was like well, the best player in the NFL. Tua, like they said he might have pink eye, something on his face. He was wearing some covering. I think that like it was an NFL meme. They showed Tua with a bad eye. It's a picture of Dan Marino, which is accurate because that's the best I've seen Tua look since easily this year, and even you had to go deep into last year. This was everyone thought they were getting fired. They had to bench Tua last week because he was doing terrible against Cleveland. They thought this is it for Mike McDaniels, and they just come out there. They were playing for their jobs.
They said, "You thought, not today." It's like that meme. It's like, call an ambulance, but
when
not for me.
call an ambulance for someone to call an ambulance for Atlanta. And you know what? You can call an ambulance for Atlanta, and you can also call an ambulance for the Cincinnati Bengals because what the heck just happened with them with the New York Jets? They made Justin Fields look like how
The
everyone
Jets won a
they make
game.
Justin Fields look like how everyone thinks Justin Fields is supposed to look like. And the Jets won, and you know what? RIP. I'm happy for Nick Mango. That was like I know my
Really
other
sad.
brother's a big Jets fan, and he was very upset. And it's a good strong win. It was a great win. It was a good emotional
They
win.
did it without Garrett Wilson, too.
But oh my goodness, you're not making the Bengals. There's a stat, and it's the craziest stat in the world. In the past 2 years, they have lost 5 games where the offense has scored 33 points.
That is
No,
the most Bengals stats I've ever
no
heard.
other team has more than 2 losses that time.
That is so Joe Burrow. That's Joe Burrow trying to carry them to victory and the defense being so bad that they just lose the game.
Is Joe Burrow trying to single-handedly carry them to victory? I just drafted Zach Levine. Is Joe Burrow trying to
Nice.
single-handedly carry them to victory? And now he gets injured. And now Joe Flacco's trying to carry them to victory. And you know what? Joe Flacco's looking like the elite Joe Flacco from before. And you know what? Since we're already on this topic, I might as well throw the AFC North team in the league in here. Okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are right now. This is based on a I believe it was like a Steelers X fan account, a fan site. They are ranked the 30th ranked defense in the league. They are This is the worst spot they've ever been since the Super Bowl era. And the other four times they've been ranked near this bad, I believe it's like 22, 25th, 28. It was 4 years ago. So again, still in the Tomlin era. It was in the late 80s and early 90s. So when you're transitioning from Chuck Noll to Bill Cowher, so this was like the end of Noll, an old man, you sometimes you gotta take your grandpa out to pasture. And this was
Oh no.
and this was 1981 after at the end of the Steelers dynasty from the 70s. So okay, a transitional period from the dynasty to now going to the A's to remaking like the new team. Aaron Rodgers looks fine. He, we knew what he was okay, we knew what we was getting. We're not getting
His
MVP.
arm looks fine.
He's still accurate. That's my point. He's still an accurate quarterback. He doesn't throw it as much down the field, but in the 10 yard radius, he's gonna hit the spots. He still looks like granted if it's third and 10, I don't trust it. But this is what I expect from Aaron Rodgers.
He hit
Since
Roman Wilson though on that nice sideline pass.
I expect accurate Aaron Rodgers. I don't expect mobile Aaron Rodgers. I expect accurate Aaron Rodgers. The running game, it looks decent. It could look better, but it's I've seen worse running games from Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the highest paid defense in the NFL. They make, I believe it's $153 million worth of money in this defense. They are terrible. They are atrocious. Everyone was worried about, everyone was worried that, oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to look that good. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, oh, he's washed up. No, the problem isn't Aaron Rodgers. The problem is the defense. The problem is the fact that they can't stop a ham sandwich from crossing the street somehow. Like Jordan Love is a talented quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. I don't think he's like a superstar or star or elite. He's still a talented quarterback. He looked like old Aaron Rodgers out there. He looked like Aaron Rodgers from the early 2010s out there. And I'm just thinking, is this just gonna be what the season is? Just like Aaron Rodgers like wasting his last year on a team? I'm like between them and the Bengals. It's just we have these old quarterbacks who still have something in them. Flacco's playing obviously better, but I think that also helps when you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. But these are two old quarterbacks that still show they have some game in them, and they're gonna be losing a lot of games because the defense can't stop anything. Pittsburgh and Bengals having excuse because they were bad last year. What's Pittsburgh's excuse? They are the highest paid defense. They have a, but you know what? They're an old defense. They're an old team. They have the All-Pro team from 5 years ago. But guess what? It's not 2020, thank God. It's 2025. And I'm
Here's
just
my question.
here's my answer.
Do you think TJ Watt is washed now?
I
And I
don't
don't say that to incite anger, okay? I'm saying I've watched some of it this year, some Steelers, and I don't know. He just doesn't look the same. Like, am I just seeing things?
Watt has games. He is one of those things I've noticed like the past year, like from last year and 2 years ago. Well, granted, it's also in terms of he's has an injury history, so I think that's starting to catch up with him a little. But it's also he has games where he'll disappear for 2 games and then he'll show out for 1 game. Has like 2.5 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and then something like that. It also doesn't help that he's always going to get like doubled and chopped and stuff. And I think he's at the point of his career that he's not going to be able to just like run through that like he did in the past. So if
Right.
he's, but if he's getting doubled, then like that's going to be somewhat of an issue drafting Jared Jackson Jr.
Nice.
No, my team's coming out very well. Um, but no, like that's going to come down to like if he's getting doubled or singled in like a chopped at the same time and help and the others can't do anything about it. If Highsmith and
Yeah, what's happened to Cam Hayward? I mean, I know he's older, but
that's what happened. He's older. That's the reason why
he's
they
been old though.
Yeah, but that's the reason why they decided to draft Harmon in the first round this year. And Harmon hasn't been showing out, but that's the reason why they drafted a defensive tackle in the first round because they knew Hayward doesn't have much left in the tank, and it's showing this year. And they had 0 sacks on Love last night. So and that's just spells doom for them. If they can't get after the pass rush, if they can't get after the passer, then they're not going to do anything. That secondary can't guard for as long as they do. And it's gotten to a point that I know before I talk about firing Tom and all that stuff, Terrell Austin has been on the D corner for the past few years. They might have to do something with him because he's not even. It's the scheme. They can pick any quarterback is picking apart their scheme. And I'm watching this. I'm like, what's this? This is the all-in year, and it's if you can't beat a team, if you can't beat good teams, let alone great teams, would this is just like the past few years. It's just gonna be a wild card, maybe division round at best.
Here's my question. I have a second question. It's not about Mike Tomlin. Do you think that the Minka trade for Ramsey, would you still do it at this point? Like, do you think it was a fail? Because
But Ramsey isn't really showing out in Miami. Is the thing. Not Ramsey. Minka's not really showing out that much in Miami. Ramsey has had his moments in Pittsburgh, but he's also had time where he's gotten burnt
I
like
know he had
toast.
that one game where he had the breakup that won you guys the game, right? That was
Yeah,
like week 2 or something.
he had the breakup. He had the first game with the Jets where he made the final tackle. It's like the team you're watching. He's had moments, and there have been times where he's been well. While it's been a case of being neutralized. Ramsey's a case of T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, or the myriad of Packers receivers have just been able to get by on him. So I don't even know what I don't. It's the drafts haven't. They just need to do something in terms of maybe get younger. Because Slay, between him, Joy Porter Jr., who I think is a decent corner, but if he's your number one, you're in trouble. Patrick Queen started the season very well. He didn't have the best game the past week or two, so maybe he's coming back down to earth. But I still think he's a solid linebacker. I'm just worried about this team in terms of they're going to a tougher part of the schedule now, starting with Indianapolis. And they didn't get the extended lead with Burrow and Lamar out that I was hoping they would get. So,
Are you actually scared of Indianapolis, or are you still not bought in on Daniel Jones? Because I
no,
feel like there are still a lot of people that are like, it's Daniel Jones.
no, I'm terrified of Indianapolis at this point. I'm terrified of them. But we're between them and the Bengals, we're gonna figure all it out eventually. Well, another classic team that's struggling right now are the Dallas Cowboys, and they are just getting shellacked by they just lost bad, and Dak had a terrible game against the Broncos. And I think honestly, I don't know how much of that is just the Broncos being a really elite defensive team and Dallas actually just not being frauds, but just not being the team that we thought they were the past few weeks.
Yeah, so I personally am not that worried about Dallas, especially on offense. Dak's going to have a rare bad game. I mean, this happens pretty much every year. In his best seasons, he usually has 2 to 3 games where he underperforms, and he makes up for it in other weeks during the season by overperforming. Um, they really didn't look good. I mean, my sister has Jake Ferguson in fantasy, and he had 0 catches for 0 yards. And she was like, this is her first year playing. And she's like, what happened? And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just a one-off.
Uh,
I'm
she's
really
doing
not.
she's doing better than my sister, I'll say
She's
that.
500.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually doing pretty good. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not really that worried about Dallas, at least on offense. I think their offense will be fine. CD is still getting reacclimated. You have Pickens, who looks amazing. I mean, you have
Yeah.
Javonte Williams, who looks good. You know, Dak is going to rebound. Their O-line is pretty good. So I'm really not worried. And Ferguson is good. So I'm not worried about their offense. I think it was just a rare day. Now, their defense leaves a lot to be desired. I actually thought that they potentially took a step forward last week before they played the Broncos. Yeah, no, they didn't.
No
There,
step
there,
forward.
there were no steps that were taken forward. I dare say there were steps that were taken backward. Um, yeah, no, I mean that's been the storyline of Dallas the whole season. If they want to win games, their offense is gonna have to carry them. I mean, that's just how it is. And I saw the dumbest freaking headline that apparently the Cowboys are trying to trade for Max Crosby, and I'm like, oh, wouldn't it just be so nice if the Cowboys had a premier pass rusher on their team that would just make their defense so much better? That sure would be nice. Am I
Uh,
just missing something? I know they weren't that good with him, but am I just missing something? Come on, Jerry.
well, you know who they could get for the defensive lineman. They could get Anthony Simons because I just picked. Well, actually, not 'cause I just picked him up in fancy. Um, but no, like it's this is probably I'm not gonna say like rebuilding, but like they use they're gonna use their first draft picks they have going to this upcoming draft to
You have
probably
to
get
be
some a replacement.
you have
But
to be happy with Pickens though. I mean, Pickens has pretty much completed your offense at this point. I mean, I don't think anyone saw that
he's
coming.
happy. Pickens is happy because he doesn't have Mason Rudolph and Justin Fields throwing the football at this point.
That's fair. He wasn't really set up for success.
So my voice is about to give out. And I got six more picks for my next pick in the draft. I actually like my team so far. Maybe I'll post that my basketball team, add a little basketball to launch coach football
You
at some
should.
point. Yeah, maybe I'll do that after the draft. But yeah, so this was all week in NFL. This was the first week since 1970 there was only one game within one score game, which was
Which
ridiculous.
was the Jets game, which is the funniest
And
part.
no one expected that. But hopefully we'll get better quality of football next week. Chelsea, hit us with those plugs, please.
Hey guys, follow us on our social medias. We are on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Launch Codes Football. We're on Twitter at Launch Codes FB, and we're also on Discord. If you're interested in joining us on there, let us know. We'll see you next week. It's a big matchup. Colts play the Steelers. Check out our episode coming out on Thursday where we preview that game and Daniel gets angry about the defense because I'm sure it's going to happen again. So definitely check us out, follow us on our socials, and stay tuned in because we'll be back next week. I'm Chelsea.
I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.
Adios.
See ya.